So today I'll be continuing with my college football game by game prediction and roster discussion videos. Today I'll be doing the Southern Cal Trojans. Southern Cal only returns 46% of their production, and Lincoln Riley had the 15th ranked recruiting class in the country, and 2025, which is good. So starting on the offensive side of the roster, they averaged at 29.7 points per game last year, which is above average, but it was not great, and it was by far Lincoln Riley's worst offense since he's been a head coach. But they still ranked at 10th in the country and passing. And I think that the points per game average will go up this year. So at quarterback, Jaden Mayava got his first start at USC against Nebraska last year. And in that game, he was at 25 of 35, which was a 71.6% completion percentage, which was very accurate. And he threw for 259, which is good, but not great. And he did have a decent yards per throw average at 7.4 in that game. And he threw three touchdown passes in it, but he did throw an interception. And then in his second start at USC against UCLA, he struggled a lot. He did throw for 221, which is pretty good, but he only completed 19 of 35 of his passes, which was only 54.3%. And he only had a 6.3 yards per throw average, but he did throw a touchdown pass in that game, which they had to have to have won it because it was a very close game. And the last two games, though, he improved. His completion percentage was still not that good, and he did turn the ball over a lot in the last two games, but he threw for a combined 655 yards and seven touchdown passes. I think he'll be good at quarterback for them, and I still think that Lincoln Riley is the best in the country at coaching quarterbacks. And at wide receiver, they do lose two good wide receivers. Zachariah Branch and Colby Hudson. Kyron Hudson. And the two wide receivers, though, that they have coming back, I like. I think they could be two of the best receivers in the country this year. Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane. Makai Lemon was actually their leading receiver last year. He played in 12 games and started six games and had 52 catches for 764 and three touchdowns, averaging 14.7 a catch. And Jacoby Lane had last year 43 catches for 525 and 12 touchdowns, averaging 12.2 a catch last year. And he really impressed me in the bowl game against A&M, where he had seven catches for 127 and three touchdowns. And at running back, Woody Marks is gone, and he was a really good player for them last year, by far their best running back. But they bring in Wayman Jordan from junior college, who is expected to be the starting running back. He was the top junior college running back recruit and the number seven overall junior college recruit. So last year in 12 games, he had 1,614 yards on 218 carries and 20 touchdown runs, averaging at 7.4 a carry. But of course, it's going to be much harder to do that in the Big Ten than it will be in junior college. And they bring in from New Mexico a running back, Eli Sanders. He had last year in 12 games, 1,063 yards and 9 touchdowns, on 147 carries, averaging 7.2 a carry. He'll probably be running back number two. So they should be pretty good at running back. And then on the offensive line, they were not very good here last year, and they only have two starters coming back. And they lose Emmanuel Pregnan, who transferred, and he was their best offensive lineman last year. But they do have Elijah Page coming back at left tackle, who was an All-American offensive lineman last year. He started all 13 games as a freshman, and he did give up 28 total quarterback pressures, but he only allowed two sacks. But I don't think this unit overall is going to be good. And defensively, USC averaged giving up 22.5 points per game, which is actually a little above average, but that's actually kind of deceiving because USC's defense allowed opponents to complete 68% of their passes on average, and they had a very weak pass rush, and their secondary ranked 98th in the country, giving up 235.8 passing yards per game, and they also weren't very good against the run either. And like against Maryland when they lost that game, they gave up 29 points. And while I know that's not a whole lot of points, it was bad that they gave up nearly 30 to Maryland because Maryland's offense was horrible last year. And then they gave up 27 to Michigan, and Michigan's offense was one of the worst in the country last year. And then they gave up 26 in a loss to Washington, which I know doesn't seem like that much, but Washington's offense was horrible last year, and it only averaged 24 points per game, so that wasn't very good. And then they gave up 42 offensive points in a loss to Notre Dame. And while Notre Dame I know was a really good team last year, it's never good to give up 42 points. And then they gave up 31 in the bowl game against A&M, which also was not very good. But the LSU game was their best defensive performance last year when they only gave up 20 points. And I was higher on USC's defense earlier on in the off season, but having looked closely at their roster now and knowing who the head coach is, I'm actually not very high on it now, even though I do like their defensive coordinator, D'Anton Lynn. So on the defensive line, only one starter returns, and he wasn't very good last year. Now they did bring in a five-star defensive lineman from Kentucky, Keyshawn Silver. He was ranked the number two defensive lineman in the transfer portal. He started 23 college games, and in 2024, he had 26 tackles and a sack and nine total quarterback pressures. I'm sure he'll help them out. And at linebacker, they lose everybody here except for Eric Gentry, who is a good player. He's been with USC for 3 years, and he's played in 27 games with them and started 14 games. And in that, he has a total of 149 tackles and five sacks and four forced fumbles and eight pass breakups and two interceptions and a fumble recovery. And at cornerback, they bring in from San Jose State DJ Harvey, a very good corner. He played in 12 games last year and had 58 tackles and six pass breakups and four interceptions and one for a touchdown and two sacks. But they need somebody else to step up at corner. And then at safety, I do think they're going to be pretty good. they've got Kamari Ramsey coming back, who could have went to the NFL this year. He is one of the best at safeties in the country. Last year, he had in 11 games 60 tackles and five pass breakups and an interception and two forced fumbles and two sacks. And then they bring in from NC State a good safety, Bishop Fitzgerald, who had last year 55 tackles and eight pass breakups and three interceptions and a forced fumble and two quarterback pressures. But USC didn't really load up in the portal defensively like they did last year. But on special teams, uh, Makai Lemon is a one of the best return specialists in the country. So now for the game by game predictions, USC's first two games against the Missouri State and Georgia Southern will be big blowout wins. So Missouri State will be like a name your score kind of game for USC. They could probably score 70 points in this one if they wanted to, and their second string will play the whole second half. But Georgia Southern, they'll probably have to play hard for a half, but I think by halftime they'll have a comfortable enough lead to put in their second string. And now on the road at Purdue, I think USC will blow out Purdue. Purdue won't be able to take advantage of a weak USC defense. Purdue won't be able to score much in this game. Their offense will be terrible, I think, and their defense will be worse than Southern Cal's will. USC, I think, will score a lot of points in this game. And now Michigan State. So Michigan State's front seven, I th don't think is going to be very good. So I think USC will be able to run the football well in this game. And Michigan State doesn't have the offensive line, I don't think, to be able to take advantage of USC's not very good defensive line. And now I do like Michigan State's safety, so they may be able to stop USC from completing very many of the deep balls, but their corners aren't very good. So I think USC will still be able to make plenty of plays passing in this game. And Michigan State is a decent passing team. And that actually is, I think, a good thing for USC because the secondary, I think, is going to be the best part of USC's defense. So I think USC wins this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one is pretty close. So now on the road at Illinois, Illinois is a physical, well coached team, and I think their offensive line will win the battle with USC's defensive line, and they'll be able to run the football well in this game, which is what Brett Bielema is going to want to do. And Illinois returns everybody in their secondary, so I think they'll be able to slow down USC's passing attack some. And Illinois, I think, is a better team than Southern Cal, and especially with the game being at Illinois, I'm going with Illinois to get a win that will probably be pretty close. And now Michigan. So I have to go with Michigan to win this game. So Michigan is one of the most physical teams in a very physical conference. That's what Lincoln Riley has struggled the most with, dominant offensive and defensive lines. And that's why I don't think that USC is going to be able to have much success with Lincoln Riley being their coach in the Big Ten because the Big Ten and the SEC are two very physical conferences. And I think Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma because Oklahoma had decided when he was still a coach there that they'd be going to the SEC in a few years. And the Big 12, which he had a lot of success in coaching for 5 years is not a very physical conference, and neither was the Pac-12 that he was a coach in for a couple of years. And Michigan beat them last year playing that Alex Orgy at quarterback who's no longer with them. And as bad as all Michigan's quarterbacks were last year, that Orgy was so bad that he couldn't complete a 5 yard pass uncovered and with no pressure on him. Now he was a good runner, but Bryce Underwood, Michigan's new quarterback, is not just considered to be a dual threat quarterback, but he's considered to be about as good of a runner as he is a passer. And Michigan, I know, had a lot of success running in this game last year with Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullings, who are no longer with them. But Justice Haynes from Alabama that they brought in can do that too. Now on the road at Notre Dame, I think this will be a loss for USC. So USC may be able to score quite a bit in this game, but Notre Dame is a better coach team than they are, and USC. I don't think we'll be able to stop Notre Dame's run game, and I think Notre Dame's defense is much better than USC's, and they'll make some big plays in this game to get them this win by probably around 2 touchdowns. And now on the road at Nebraska. So I'm picking USC to beat Nebraska. Not really because I think Nebraska's a better I mean, USC's a better team than Nebraska is. It's really because I don't think USC is going to lose 4 games in a row. And if I pick Nebraska, that would be what I would be picking. But Nebraska, them being down this year, I think, on the defensive line, and USC, them having been able to run really well on Nebraska last year, I think USC is going to be able to run for a lot of yards and this game. And even though I think Nebraska's secondary will probably slow down USC's passing attack a little bit, I still think Maava will make some big plays through the air. And Nebraska's offense, while I think it'll score more than they did against USC last year, it's not going to be so good this year. I don't think to where they can like put up 40 points on a struggling defense. And now at Northwestern, this game has been moved to a Friday, and I think USC wins this game pretty easily. Northwestern, I don't think is going to have enough defense to be able to slow down USC's offense, and Northwestern, I don't think is going to have a very good offense. I don't think they'll score very much in this game. And now Iowa. Iowa's defense, I think, can slow down Southern Cal in this game to where maybe they only score 28. But Iowa's offensive line, I also think is a little better than USC's. But Iowa is not as good at quarterback as Southern Cal, and they're not any good at all at wide receiver, nowhere close to Southern Cal's level. And I think USC has better running backs this year than Iowa does too. And I just don't think Iowa has quite enough offense to win this one, but I do think it'll be close. So now on the road at Oregon, I think Oregon will win this game by a couple of scores. Oregon is fitting in well with the Big Ten because they're a very physical team, and I think they'll control the line of scrimmage on both sides in this game, and they're a much better coach team than Southern Cal is. And I think they'll score a lot in this game, and I think they'll slow down USC's offense. So now at UCLA, I had a hard time picking this one. I almost picked UCLA to win this game because UCLA's defense, I think, is a little bit better than USC's, but USC's offense, I think, is way better than UCLA's, and I think that makes the difference. But I do think this is going to be a close game. So my prediction for USC is an 8-4 overall and 6-3 in the conference. And if I was a Southern Cal fan, which I'm not, I just started watching them the last couple of years more because I like watching Lincoln Riley's offenses. But I would be ready to move on from Lincoln Riley at this point if they do go 8-4 this year. So that will be it with this video. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.